How does my own portfolio look like, and in which ETFs do I invest myself? What kind of investing strategy am I following and why? All these questions I want to answer in this new video. It should also give you a feeling how a real investing journey can look like, which is far from perfect. So let's go with this next video. Hi everyone, my name is Sven and I want to show you with my videos that taking care of your personal finances doesn't need to be complicated. In today's video, I want to give you some personal insights into my own investments at the stock market. I was thinking quite long how transparent I want to be with my finances in public. But I like the idea of being 100% transparent and sharing updates of my own journey on a regular basis. Especially because I find such videos the most interesting on YouTube, where people present their own investments and strategies. At the moment, I'm thinking of sharing the status of my own portfolio on a quarterly basis with you. But let's see how things develop in the next few weeks. You will see a lot of aspects of my other past videos reflecting in my own investing strategy. I will link my other videos where I go deeper into specific topics here at the top and also in the description below. So you can follow up on them whenever you need to. But now, let's first talk a little bit about my own investing strategy before looking at my portfolio. If you watch my previous videos, you should not be surprised that I follow passive investing strategy with different ETFs. My investments are all long-term orientated and I'm not planning on selling any of my ETFs in the next 20 years, meaning that I follow a classic hold and buy approach. Currently, I'm investing in 3 different ETFs. One ETF is following the MSCI World Index, another one is based on the MSCI markets, and additionally I invest in a dividend ETF, which includes companies distributing higher dividends than the rest of the stock market on a regular basis. All my investments are done via savings plans, which are executed on a monthly basis and run completely on autopilot. I may adapt the plans around 4 times a year to rebalance my portfolio slightly. For example, I increased my current saving plan for the MSCI Emerging Markets to increase its share in my portfolio, because I decided that its share was too low over the last few years. But in general, I have really low efforts with my investments during the year. As a broker, I use the DKB, which was a decision I took several years ago because I already had a bank account with them. So to be honest, there was not a lot of research going into this broker decision. But even today, I'm still satisfied with them. From a fee perspective, it might make sense to change brokers, and maybe I will do so at some point, but it's not one of my short-term goals. Currently, the fees are €1.50 per savings plans transaction at the DKB, which I could save at another broker with better conditions. But besides the savings plans transactions, there are no fees involved, which brings the monthly fees to less than €5, which is, in my opinion, an acceptable amount per month. Still, there is some room for optimization in my investment, so you might not follow my own approach blindly, especially when you're at the beginning of your own investment journey. I started investing around 5 years ago, when I started my professional career with my first full-time job. Before my first investment, I did some research about ETFs and passive investing, which seemed like a great and well-proven strategy to me. At the beginning, I was starting with an investment of €450 monthly, while still saving some additional money into saving accounts to also build up an emergency fund. Looking back, I definitely did not everything perfectly. But this is also not necessary as long as you learn from your mistakes and evolve on the way. The ETFs I'm investing in are not the best in terms of the yearly total expense ratio called TER. On top, I was way too careful at the beginning with my investments. Nearly 50% of the €450 every month went at the beginning into a bond ETF because I was still somehow unsure about company shares and their higher volatility. The remaining 50% were already then going into the MSCI World and the MSCI Emerging Markets Index. Over the last years, I constantly increased my investing amounts as my income and also my comfort level with the stock market was increasing. Today, I try to invest at least €2,000 every month at the stock market. In the perfect world, my portfolio could have developed in a significantly better way, being more comfortable with the stock market in the past. But that's always easy to say afterwards. Starting small actually gave me the comfort level to stay in for the long run, to learn more about passive investing, and to have a relaxed life, not needing to stress out with stock market crashes, like for example when the Corona crisis hit. Starting small is still better than doing nothing, and it gives you some real experiences you can learn and develop from. If there's more you'd like to know about my own background and investing strategy, just leave your questions in the comments below and I'm happy to answer it later. Let's now have a look at my current portfolio and switch to Parquet. Parquet, also formerly called Trésor, is an online tool which allows you to track and monitor your portfolio and its performance, which I've been using since a few months. So let's jump into my own portfolio. Let's now have a look at my current portfolio here in Parquet. Parquet unfortunately is just available in German language, so please excuse that I might need to translate a few things for you into English. Let's start here at the top left with the pie chart. In the pie chart you can see the current value of my portfolio, which is at the moment slightly above 92,000 euros. When you hover with the mouse over the different colors in the pie chart, you can see in what kind of products I'm actually invested in with my portfolio. So when I go here to the dark blue part, you can see the ETF following the MSCI World Index and its current value in my portfolio. This ETF has at the moment a value of 44,000 euros in my portfolio. Next to the pie chart, you have some other useful information. So for example, it shows the performance here as a percentage and also as an absolute value. The current performance is here displayed as 1.87%, which then translates into an absolute amount of 1,700 euros. This is unfortunately not 100% accurate, since I'm just tracking my portfolio here in Parquet since July 2021. My real performance should be around 17% or 13,000 euros, which is a great development over the last 5 years. What is also interesting for me is the dividend amount here, because it displays the amount of dividends I received over the last month. All my ETFs are distributing ETFs, like I already explained before. So the ETFs is distributing the dividends of the underlying company to its investors, so that I get a constant cash flow on my bank account. These here are just the dividends again, which I received since July 2021. When we scroll down here a little bit, you can see some other charts. The first chart shows the development of my portfolio performance over time. It displays two different lines. The gray line shows the amount of money which I invested into my portfolio each month. This is why you can see a jump at the beginning of each month in the gray line, because this is when my savings plans transactions are executed and I'm investing some money into my portfolio. The dark blue line shows the value of the portfolio over time. So every time the blue line is above the gray line, the value of the portfolio was higher than the money I invested into it. Every time it's below the gray line, the value was less and in fact I had some losses. This also translates into the chart here on the right, where you can see the performance development as a percentage. There's a lot of green into this chart here, but you can also see some red zones where the portfolio was temporarily in a negative zone. This chart here really shows nicely that the stock market does not develop in a linear fashion and ups and downs are completely normal. What's also nice here in the first chart is that you can change the view to a dividend view. It displays you different bars here. Each bar shows what kind of dividends you received in each month. So for example, when I go to this bar here, it shows me the dividends I received in January 2022. It was a dividend from 2 different ETFs and 2 different amounts. All my ETFs are distributing ETFs, so I get the dividends on a regular basis. For the MSCI World and MSCI Emerging Markets, I get them in September, December, and the next one will be then in March because it's a quarterly distributing ETF. For my dividend ETF, they are distributed in October, January, and then in April because it's also on a quarterly basis. Here in the middle, you see some other additional information. First here about the return of the portfolio with some more detailed information. which I just want to cover shortly. It shows here again the absolute amount of my positive return at the moment, also in percentage. And it also shows you again the dividends and also calculates here a percentage rate for my dividend return. What's nice here is it also shows what kind of money I lost so far due to taxes and to some fees, because each savings plan transactions causes some fees at the DKB. In the middle here you can see my last activities, where you can see that I bought some ETFs but also received some dividends. All these activities here I have to register when I get the documents from my broker. But this we will maybe cover in another video. On the right here, I see my top movers in my portfolio, which is not so interesting for me, as I just have several ETFs in my portfolio and not so many different single titles. Here at the bottom, you get a really nice overview over your portfolio again. It shows the different titles you have in your portfolio, the current value of each position, the performance, and also the allocation. So here, for example, for my portfolio, you can see the biggest position is the MSCI World Index, with a share of nearly 50%. Then second comes the ETF, which is following companies which are distributing higher dividends than the rest of the market on a regular basis, with nearly 27%. Next comes the ETF for the emerging markets, with currently 16%, but I try to increase its allocation of the portfolio over the next month to a value between 20 and 25%. At the bottom and smallest position you have a bond ETF, which is still just a remaining position from my investing journey, which I started at the beginning, but I'm currently not investing in. When you click here on the different products or the links, you can go into some details for each of your positions in case you want to. So I open this here in a new tab. And what you could do here is you can see the single position, its development in value, performance, the dividends, and other information which might be important to you. When you scroll to the bottom, you can also see some information to the financial product you have here in your portfolio. So for example, you could directly into just ETF, which I covered in another video, to get some more detailed information about this ETF here. But you also see already some overview information here. So for example, which different industries are covered with this ETF and what kind of countries here at the bottom. So Parquet is a really nice tool to track your portfolio and the performance of it over time. I will probably make another video showing you some more details of this tool to make it better understandable to you.
I hope this video can give you some inspiration on how and why you should start investing into the stock market. I am planning to continue this format of personal updates on a quarterly basis. In case you have any other questions or topics of interest, leave a comment below the video and I will try to consider it in one of my future videos. To stay on board for future content, feel free to subscribe and to leave a like to support this channel. So see you soon and have a great day.